that consistent with, I guess, budgets? Like, is it typical that the bigger the budget, the more it is by committee that
it's a greater investment? And I mean, there are reasons for it that are logical. I've
Right.
now that I've like been on the producing side of things, and I'm sort of an insider outsider. I'm an insider in the studio system because I've worked on a lot of these things and I've been in the meeting rooms and I'm trying to do the best job I can for the franchise, for the studio, for the, because their goals are my goals. We all want to make something great. We want the public to love it, But I'm also an outsider in that I see the inherent limitations. I've had to work with those inherent limitations of the big studio thing. And then the independent world gives you a form of freedom from that, but more restrictions in budget. And there is freedom, which is why I love independent films and why a lot of the practical stuff is making a resurgence. Sometimes that's the most fun place to work, is in those $1 million, $2 million movies, because there aren't a lot of options and you can move fast. And it's like the 80s. Imagine in the 80s, this is what it always is. I always think of this. In the 80s, before we had the options that you mentioned, you would hit the ground running. It would be like, there's only one option, and that's to build this stuff. And the money investment is so huge that people's jobs are on the line. If a movie tanks, people get fired. Yeah. They are captive of that system, and they're trying to work. And it isn't a totally bad system. It creates some really great stuff, They did come out of a time when it was an individual filmmaker's vision that established this great stuff. And I think they just have a harder time when it's a committee. It's not as pure, and I don't know.